The sages of the Talmud relate an exchange that took place between King Yanai and his wife just before passing away. King Yanai was one of the kings of the Hashmonaim, the Hasmonean dynasty that ruled towards the end of the Second Temple era. King Yanai was a Sadducee. He supported the Tzaddukim, who rebelled against the authority of the sages and their interpretation of the Torah Shebaal Peh. And he himself had been responsible for killing many of the Chachamim, many of the sages. His wife was worried that once he passed away, the Chachamim, the Prushim, would take revenge against her and against her sons, and asked him for assistance. So he told her the following: "You do not need to fear and be worried about the Prushim. You do not likewise need to fear and be worried about the Tzaddukim. You need to be worried and fear the Tzevuim." What are the Tzevuim? Tzevuim literally means colored or painted. It means people who portray themselves outwardly in one way, but inside act and behave and believe in a different way entirely. So the Prushim, those who are pious and hold to the tradition of the Torah Shebaal Peh, you do not need to worry about them. Neither do you need to worry about the Tzaddukim, even though they were wicked. However, you need to worry about those who outwardly portray themselves as being righteous, as pious and holy, but inside they act in a way which is sinful, in a way which is evil, in a way which is negative. I think this message is very powerful for us as Jews in Australia as we head to a federal election, which is of great import to the Jewish community, and particularly the relations with the state of Israel in this time as we face a war, an existential war. We are fighting against the enemies, against terrorism, against Hamas. We have parties in this election, like the Liberal Party, who are clearly friends of the Jewish people, the Jewish community, and the Jewish state. They have vocally condemned terrorism and have sided with the side of right, with Israel in their war in order to protect their civilians and to uproot terror from Gaza. Then we have those, like the Greens, who are clearly not our friends. They have sided with terrorism. They have joined the ranks of those who support a Palestinian state, who support the Palestinian people, and condemn the IDF, condemn Israel for the actions they are taking to defend themselves and their population. They have been involved in protests against the Jewish state. They've been involved in supporting protesters who've locked down the city with horrible taunts of anti-Semitic nature. But we don't need to worry about them either, because at least as a community know where we stand in their eyes. What we do need to worry about are those parties, like the Labour Party, who outwardly portray themselves as Prushim, as pious, as friends of our community. They put forward a Jewish candidate and say that if he's Jewish, of course, we as a party must be able to support the Jewish beliefs and Jewish values of your community. They offer money to Jewish organizations to rebuild shuls that have been destroyed as a result of terrorism domestically. They've pledged money to Jewish organizations and security and the like, but all of this is tzvuim, all of this is external. It is all projected outwards in order to placate the Jewish community. But we know that internally they have beliefs which are not reconcilable with what a Jew should be voting for. They have sided against Israel in the United Nations. They have decreed that the Prime Minister, the democratically elected Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is persona non grata in Australia, and that they would arrest him in accordance with the ICC resolution were he to be able to come over here. They are believers in a Palestinian state, and they do not ultimately have the interest of Israel at heart, and are rather more concerned about the well-being of the terrorist populace of Gaza and the West Bank. So I think the message for us is very clear. It's great to know who our friends are, and it's also good to know who our enemies are. And we don't need to fear either one of them, because at least we know where to stand. The worry is when they attempt to seduce us, to buy our support with outward overtures towards the Jewish community, but internally they are that wolf in lamb's clothing. They are the tzevuim who paint themselves outwardly one way, but underneath are a bed of corruption and anti-Semitic values.